I hope you have a great day. So let's just get right into this. So at the very beginning, I'm just drawing in the lines. The lines I want to keep, like I said, just clean a line art and drawing in the shapes. My usual thing from time to time. And unfortunately, I was trying to record the sketching and I unfortunately lost some of that, but that's alright, we'll just go with the flow and just keep going. So just drawing in the shapes there and there, and these little circles and all that. I came up with this idea to put these kind of shapes on our head. I won't be the first or last to do this, but basically I drew this and I thought it would be a cool idea to just apply it to for as like a hair basically, and I drew a bunch of concepts here and there. So yeah, I thought it would be a good idea to try out. So I'm just drawing and erasing like I did before and just trying to plan out how I want this to look still. But I have the concept sketch there, and obviously as I go along I change things out as I go and drawing stuff on the bottom to act like the falling from the hair or something. I don't know, I've just add something to the entire illustration, and I made this whole thing bigger because I want it to be bigger, and just drawing details down there to the chin, the neck area, and the nose and stuff like that. And then I erase some of the lines down there, otherwise I'll get overwhelmed and not try to make it a little bit more cleaner. And I started painting the skin because I picked a bit of brown colour because I want this woman to have a darker skin tone. And then I painted in the eyes, and I painted the lips. And again, I have used reference to double make sure the face proportions are okay-ish. But obviously this one's a bit more illustrative than on the realism side, but overall I still do kind of like it a lot. And then I painted down the clothing parts, like the bandana on her head and then the t-shirt, and I painted in like vintage looking colours, like I added the pinks and stuff like that, and I ended up nearly colouring the whole thing in pink because I don't know what arrangements that I want. And obviously the colour palette I chose is like the green, the orange, and the really pale yellow as well, and just painting in what I want to arrange them into and just colouring them all in. And I also did the earrings as well, and then I airbrushed the background into sort of like a peachy colour. And then I went back onto the skin using the chalk ones and just trying out different brushes just to make sure I have different textures to the whole illustration. By the way, sorry if I sound slightly weird, I am actually pretty tired today, but I thought let's just get this done. And when I was trying to export the video to a shorter timeline, it did take a while, and I pretty much stayed up last night to make sure it's completely done. But you know, it's what you gotta do. I like getting stuff done. And then I zoom in, drawing in the eyelashes, added a darker browns and a tint of purples there and there, and then just keep working on the skin basically with brighter lighter toned of browns and all that, just to keep working on the skin, and added shading there and there as well, and constantly working on the face. And then I did this song, just trying to figure out the highlights and the shading and stuff like that. I tried my best not to overwork the face, I tried my best, and adding dark blues and to the shading and stuff, and there was a point I added a bit of purple to the shading as well, and using different brushes to paint the skin as well, just to add more interest and just for me to learn and experiment. See, I did like a purpley magenta there, and just keep working on the shading and all that, and then using the blending tool, and then start adding more highlights to the cheeks, the chin, and where the top lip area is. And then I did more work in shading. Just the same process that you do with everything. And then just blending out, but try not to blend too much. I did faff a lot with the face with this one, so yeah. And then doing the eyelids and stuff like that. And I tried to add like a fleshy tone to the cheeks. With a variety of reds and pinks, but then I just paint over them. But it doesn't matter, it's fine. And then I make sure I keep moving. I started drawing in the hair bits, like the weird shapes basically. I did add like a shade color and just adding more definition to hair and make sure there's more interest in definition. By the way, I've been going back and forth. I've stopped recording and recording because I'm trying to study stuff at the same time, which is good because sometimes I need breaks from this, because sometimes when you draw the same, you're drawing on one drawing, it can get a bit tiring for a while, and sometimes I need to switch back and forth to make sure it keeps my interest up, basically. So yeah, I do more just colouring shapes in, and there was times that I keep faffing around with the shapes and stuff like that as well. And then I added like purple for the pinks, and adding varieties of colours of that tone as well. And basically kept going on and working on it as time goes on. And using the chalk brush. I thought it was an interesting texture, so I kept using the chalk brush and pretty much on all the shapes of the hair, and did blend stuff there and there. And there's me changing the whole thing, changing the arrangements and stuff like that. And yeah, so just make sure everything looks good to me. And I started shading the yellow and pop the yellow as well, but then I started to add this reddish orange tone just to add definition to the thing as well. Pretty much with the shapes I've done, I just do the shading to every single one of them. And yeah, I've pretty much done the hair parts for a bit, and adding the middle part, and yeah, just going with that colour scheme. Sorry if I make no sense again. So yeah, just keep working with the chalk brush, just doing the shapes. All I'm gonna keep saying is shapes. Shapes and shapes. And yeah, just colouring in the shapes. I'll probably stay quiet for a little bit until something interesting is going on, so I enjoy for a little bit. And I'm back here again. So obviously I paused and stopped recording because I was doing other things at the same time and taking a little break from this drawing. And obviously I tried to rework the hair parts and just trying to fix the arrangement and colouring in things. And now I did it, just now I coloured in the glasses and started working on the lips, just adding the shading and just adding more colour. And it's starting to work out. on the whole thing, and added shading, adding darker lines to show where the shadow and the lightest parts are. And then it's trying to shade in to the band-aid, the cloth part. I did look at a reference for cloth. I need to practice about painting in and drawing the cloth part. And I worked on the glasses, just make sure they're neatly drawn in, well, kind of, and just, yeah. And then I start colouring the ones that are not on the hair, like the things that are floating down from the hair kind of thing, I don't know. And just doing that, and just started to colour them in. And I went back on the face again. Like my days, I think the face took me a bit longer compared to anything else, just trying to figure out to make sure it looks alright, because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, but eventually calm down, just chilling out, just painting in, add a bit more interest by using different purples to add the shading, the shadow colour as well. And I did a bit on the nose, under the chin, the neck part, and just constantly working on the skin and adding different browns and stuff like that, and using different brushes just to see if it looks more interesting and how it looks. It does look a bit messy, so I kept blending out the brush strokes and working back and forth with different tones. Sorry about my voice. I'm just tired. I've been out the other day, had a good old time. But yeah, at least hopefully the video is alright, or the art's okay, one or the other, as long as I get this out and finished for you guys to watch and enjoy. So yeah, just adding different tones, just trying to work to make sure the things is correct kind of thing. Although we're not too much on the realism side, it's still a bit illustration, but just to remember the really realistic lighting and stuff like that. Realistic with lighting, maybe not really. And then just zoomed in a bit and just try to add more shadows above, because obviously the hair kind of goes over, you know, like a shade, so obviously I add shading to like below where the hair is, basically, to add shadow and definition. And then adding more highlights to the face, add a bit there and there to the chin, and I calmed that down with more painting in because it was a bit too bright in some areas. And then I start working on the eyes with different colours of browns, like the dark brown and then the iris, and just constantly working on the eye and shadows there and there, just to make sure there's definition to the eyes as well. And adding a bit of detail down there. And then just adding different darker greyish blue to add as a shading as well. Could have done a better job with the shading, but hey ho, we'll move on to the next drawing next time I record and stuff like that. But I've learned some things. When you draw something or paint something, you learn something from it, and I think that's important. And drawing in the eyelashes, because I did paint over them and added shading to the other one, and add the little highlight thing, woo! And then went back on the lids, tried to give more shading and colouring, just trying to work everything. And zooming back out just to see the whole thing, and just working on the lips for a little bit. And I nearly lost the expression, but still an alright illustration. And then just flicking around to see whatever. Sometimes I was completely lost where all my filters and things are. I just need to arrange them better. And I'll start working on glasses to add highlights, or just to brighten them, to make them pop a lot more, and erasing stuff that I don't want, just to make things a bit cleaner as well. And yeah, just adding more colours and purples there and there, turning them down a bit and just working on them. And back to the face. Oh my god, I've been working back and forth with this blooming face, but it looks alright in the end at least. So I painted back on the nose, and then the cheeks, blending them out, painting them in, just constantly I'm just repeating myself. And then I'll start working back on the hair part, the hair shape things, with darker purple, then a bunch of pinks and peachy colours as well, and just blend them out and zoom in, and just using the chop brush for these type of parts and just painting them in, and even the inner circle as well of the shapes. And I erased some of the messy line work and just started painting in the lines and stuff like that. And that was a bit of an awkward pause, sorry about that. I thought I did better with my editing, clearly not. Yeah. And just making sure everything, just refining and cleaning them up a bit. And getting in there and just making sure the lines look, and just repainting what needs to be shading in, what lines need to be coloured in, just tightening everything and just refining the image. And I just coloured in the first colour of the turquoisey greeny colour because it was the wrong colour. So yeah, erase some parts that are just a little bit too messy, although some of my works are a bit messy sometimes. And then just colouring in the middle circles as well. And then did a bit there and there, giving different colours to every single, like for example the pale yellow, then I'll scroll and make the warmer tones basically. And just doing pretty much the progress of me outlining and shading and adding more colours to it. Doing that for the little ones as well that are in the middle. Oh, sorry about that, that was my study that I was doing. Basically that was like a photograph that I took that I was doing a study at the time. And just rearranging the colours as well. There's times I faff around with the colours, oh I want this colour instead, or I want this colour instead. Just completely trying to think what I want to do. Oh, and then you probably just saw I was watching YouTube at the same time. Just to keep myself occupied. I was watching Marco Bucci. He's a very good artist. I'll probably try and link him down below so you could go in and check him out. And there was a weird pause, I forgot to edit out that part as well. Oh well. I suck. Anyway, ignore my negative thing that I just said. And then just adding more colours there, I completely rearranged how the colours are looking for to definition and stuff. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm such a tired baby today. Just colouring in and trying out this roller brush looking one, I don't know, and just painting in those bits as well. I also started to add definition to the inner circles of the shapes. And pretty much did the same thing to all of them. And added this pinky one and then adding the purple underneath just to add extra oomph and shading to it, and try to do the shadow part like it's behind those three other shapes, basically. And adding more darker blues and all that to those coloured shapes. So eventually, like as time goes on, I added more shadows and definition to the shapes. Adding more purples there and there, and just using the pinks and all that as well. Just the same process that I've been repeating myself. Sorry if it's like super irritating when I say the same stuff over again, but make sure I try and talk so you're not just watching just me drawing and painting basically. And this is when the whole drawing starts to come together, when I keep going and just working on the whole image. It's starting to look pretty good, to be fair. And then it was just me pausing, and I was probably distracted as well. And I usually get distracted all the time. And then just working on the hair part as well. Just pretty much doing that because it's the main focus basically that I want to keep working on. Well, the face was also a thing I wanted to constantly work on as well. And then just trying to figure out what colour to do for the shading for that basically. The effect went with more on the greeny type side. And I did another jump cut to when I was taking a break, and then I went back onto it and just back to work on the video. Obviously there's two were a bit close together, but oh well, it was just, it didn't look too bad. So yeah, just adding more lines and all that malarkey. I'm sorry if this video is a bit awkward, by the way. It's just me being sleepy and don't know what to say half the time. Or I just say a bunch of stuff that I don't know what I'm talking about, considering I'm just a person that likes to draw and paint, and trying to figure out how to do digital art as well. But it's a lot of fun. I do like digital art. It's actually a lot of fun. And starting to do the floaty circles as well, of giving them colour and shading as well. And I started adding patterns to it just to add interest, and instead of just gold. Basically, this is when I started to learn and discover a thing called transparency mask or something like that. And basically, if you colour the whites, it basically makes the transparency very opaque, so it shows up more. And if you use black, it makes them transparent. So that's what I've learned recently. Obviously I need to practice how to use the transparency mask and what colour shading is properly, but it actually did very well and I've learned something, which is great. And yeah, and added more things on there just to finish things up basically, and just nearly colour in the t-shirt because it was a bit messy earlier. And this is the part when I finally do the final stuff, which is the background. I could just leave it just the colour, but for some reason I wanted to add more things to it. So before I add the blue part, I thought I'd add this and that, airbrush it, blending it, back and forth, all that malarkey, and yeah. But it doesn't look too bad. I thought it was interesting enough just to add more things to the illustration, you know. And I started to use this brush. Basically, this brush, it acts like usually and traditionally when you paint, it sort of like blends and mixes with other paints basically. So I thought it was a cool idea to keep using that brush. So yeah, I kept using it and just kept working and making sure it's blended the way I wanted and that sort of thing. So yeah, this is pretty much done, finito, finished, and I tried to add a bit of highlight in the back as well. And it looks pretty good, I think, I hope. So yeah, it's pretty much finished. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and hope you have a great day, and stay creative. Okay, goodbye!